Hi everyone, my name is Daria and I am moderating the next panel. The next panel is going to be really exciting because we will be talking about sustainable agriculture, not only that but also food and soil health, the things that are really important for the UAE and globally for our food security. I'm going to have amazing panelists today with me and I'm going to present them and welcome them on stage with me. So we have Ms. Farah, who is the co-founder and VP, please. Of the GarcX group, and I hope she will tell us more about the company and what they're doing for the agriculture in the country. We also have today Mr. Ahmed, who is the founder of Wadi Dafa Plantation, and I'm also welcoming him on the stage. We also have today Dr. Gurbachan, who is the founder of the Foundation for Research, Education and Development. And we also have Mr. Bhaskar Rao, the agriculture consultant, who we are welcoming on stage today. Perfect, thank you so much. Okay, hi. Okay, great, it is. So I have prepared a list of questions and I'm really excited to see you all with me today. I suggest before we start with the questions, and we have 1 hour for this panel, I will give a word to every panelist to introduce themselves and to introduce their companies and what they're doing and the value that they're providing for the agriculture and for the global soil health, if that's possible and if that's applicable, in terms of the name of the panel. So please take the microphone and let's do it one by one and then we'll dive into the questions.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Daria. My name is Farah Shekhashiro. I'm the co-founder and vice president of GarcX Group. We are an Emirati pioneer company in agriculture where GarcX Group has created a comprehensive model of sustainable farming. We look at farming on a holistic level. If we are just focusing on one challenge to solve it in agriculture, we will never have a full solution in farming and agriculture. So GarcX Group today have 16 departments under the group companies, and each one of these departments tackle one challenge to solve it and to create the holistic approach model for the community. So we do farm management, agri-tech, training, greenhouse construction, events and agritourism, medicine, biofuel, everything around agriculture is under GarcX Group.
This is amazing. I have a couple of questions to you, obviously, to dive into this, because I have never heard anything like this like approach of 360 for farming and not only. I think that's really impressive.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Let's hear from your colleague.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you, Daria, for that. My name is Bhaskar. I'm in this industry for the last 31 years now, doing farming, basically a grower. And in the GCC for the last 26 years, and back in India in the last 6 years, for the first 6 years. What usually we do is I am an independent consultant. I work with the farms. I provide solutions from folk to farm solutions. It could be in terms of agronomy, it could be in terms of certifications, or any such field which is connected to the growing. And I concentrate myself much nowadays on soil enhancement, soil development, because it is a soil that will feed us all. So that's the place where I'm concentrating now, and I would love to share my ideas during the panel session regarding soil development and soil enhancement and soil health. Thank you so much.
Perfect. This plays really well into the name of our panel and the topic today. Great. Mr. Ahmed.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ahmed Al-Hafeti from the United Arab Emirates. I'm a healthcare professional, farmer, agricultural influencer, and founder and owner of Wadi Dafa Plantation. At Wadi Dafta plantation, we import, produce, and sell all kinds of plants, seeds, and fertilizer, the organic fertilizer only. And that's why, because it's my professional healthcare, we combine the health with the sustainable agriculture for a better environment and healthy people. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, friends. My name is Gurbachan Singh. I retired from government service about 7 years back. The last post was the post equivalent to secretary in Government of India. So, after retirement, I established Gurbachan Singh Foundation for Research, Education and Development. It is at Karnal near Delhi. The basic objective was to continue my research in my interest in research and academics. But we are doing there is that skill and entrepreneurship development in unemployed rural youth, farmers, school students, and linking farmers with the agricultural technologies and innovations at the grassroots level. So we have established different models. One is, which is very popular, integrated farming system model, where we have combined fisheries, dairy, horticulture, poultry, goats, everything, and also energy is generated at the site, so that the small farmers who are having less than a hectare land, 2.5 acres, they can earn their livelihood. Second, what we are doing there is producing climate smart varieties, high yielding variety seeds. We have a processing plant and giving to the farmers for multiplication in small kits. Thirdly, we are doing soil and water and climate resilient technology, so that one technology can solve the present problems of agriculture in the country. So we organize farmers fairs every year. Lot of farmers are attached to us. We are seeking for even collaborations with within the country and outside. We will talk about that. And lastly, we invite students, school students, because farmer sons are not coming to agriculture just to make awareness at the school level, so that they should have interest in agriculture. So those are the activities which we are conducting at present.
Impressive. A lot of activities. Thank you. Now, I will ask questions that I have prepared for specific panelists, but you're welcome to add any of your thoughts in case you also want to add anything, or you're working on something in injunctions to the questions. So my first question would be to Ms. Farah on your work with GarcX Group. It emphasizing changing mindset, and also it emphasizes empowering communities, especially women in agriculture, as far as I saw. How do you integrate the concept of farming for health instead of just production for volumes? How do you actually emphasizing the health aspect and the aspect of changing mindset when you're working with agriculture? Please tell us more, because obviously your company is working towards so many different initiatives.
First of all, if we're gonna look at agriculture as production, every single year we have less productive farms. Because now people are not interested in investing in farms anymore. It's a hard work, it's a climate challenge, it's a CapEx challenge, it's a lot of things. I have heard from one student from Iowa University who visited our farm that he thought farmers are poor. But when he saw our farm in Abu Dhabi, he has shifted the way he looked at farms, and he thought As a student, he can be a farmer. So now we don't call ourselves farmers anymore. We call ourselves agripreneurs. We are entrepreneurs.
I love it.
In agriculture to sustain the business and how we perceive agriculture. Looking at women, so one of the core business that we do in Gracia Group is the training center, is education. Because if we don't educate, we will never make or impact the change in our country. So education for us is mandatory and vital if we're looking for a futuristic farm with futuristic ideas, with AI, with tech. We need to educate our kids, the students, what is farming? What is farming nowadays? And can they be farmers or agripreneurs in the future? And we have one missing sector, are the women. Women before, they were the farmers. But the value chain, the companies, you know, the food, big chain companies, they have put us away from this sector and they told the women, go back, we will do the work. So if we educate one woman on food production at her house, we change the whole family. We change the food that the man is eating, her husband. We change the food that her kids are eating. We change the whole family, neighbors, community. So for us, it's very important to educate women because she is the change. So educating about health and how we perceive production as health, where do food come from? Farms. All the raw materials come from farms. So real food is health. And this is where they are pushing us a little bit away to not think as the real food is health. And how do we connect mind, body, and soul? So in the farms themselves and nature, we heal. We heal in nature. So imagine we are healing, we are eating healthy food, and we are moving through the farming practices and activities. This is why our grandmas and ancestors, they lived very long life with no diseases at all. So this is how we perceive farming and agriculture, and the women empowerment, especially in farming, how we are leading women in UAE to be agripreneurs and start making her own jam at home, her own pickles at home, drying mint, drying parsley, start creating Emirati brands to put it in the market and let our kids at least eat food that we know where is it coming from.
Mm-hmm. That was a really good point on agripreneurship and on shifting the mindset of people who work in this industry. Now, you've mentioned a lot of effort that you're putting towards educating women. Can you name any specific programs that you run, or how can women in this room, or maybe women who are listening online, how can they connect to the program, or where should they go?
Okay, so our training center is in the farm itself. We are the first farm around the world that has a training center in the farm. Where do they find us? On digital platforms, on social media, or following certain trainings that we lead. We have led a lot of training with women councils, with Ma'an entity in Abu Dhabi, with a lot of communities like home farming. And plus, we get a lot of delegations from other countries. There are a lot of women who wants to farm, but they don't know where to start. And this is the key role of what we do, is to help them where they can start. They shouldn't be doing highly production. If they can just eat and feed the next neighbor, the neighbor next door, that's enough.
That's already the change.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Ahmed, on your plantation, do you have any similar educational projects or initiatives that you carry on?
Yes, actually, I forgot to tell you, we are also in education and we give workshop. For example, now we are invited for the fourth year in Al Husn Festival in Abu Dhabi for 2 weeks. We give a workshop for the young like we give them theoretical and practical practice of the agriculture. Also, school. Also, we go to school. We visit school, and school also they visit us. So that's part of our job as education. Yes.
And do you see that this educational arm and educational projects that you carry on, is this going to be the main focus for you in the coming years, or is this something that will always be adjacent and always be just, you know, a supplement or support to your main operations in the plantation?
Well, actually, mainly is support, because we do also experiment. We bring plants from all over the world, and I forgot to tell you, in a few years we'll have the first botanical farm in Fujairah. We have most of the plants you think of, like the cacao, the avocado, or the nuts. We have the spices from India. So I bring plants from all over the world, from the 3 continents, and they are doing fine with just normal, no cooling system, nothing. So we'll have the sustainability, we have the using the solar power. And I think education part of it, because we encourage the young generation to focus on plants, because that's the food for the, you know, the population is growing, so we need to feed them, they need food, so they have to do more in agriculture. And if you see now the agriculture, the land are listening, because there's lots of building coming on, so we have lesser, so that's now they have the vertical farming, they have different kind. So education is very important for us, and supporting our way.
And you mentioned that you've been experimenting with plants from every corner of the world, and I've seen the work that you're doing online in your plantation. It's really impressive. Now, what have your experiments taught you in terms of plant resilience and in terms of soil health, when you're bringing plants from all over the world and you're trying to adapt them to these conditions of this arid climate? What are some learnings that you have experienced?
Yeah, see, actually farming is just family business. You know, we grow up and we used to eat from what we grow before. And unfortunately now people are busy, and maybe they're getting the food from all over the world, so they say they are lazy to grow anything. So if we see the 3 main pillars of any agriculture, which is the water, okay? Water should be fresh. And one thing people, they don't know, that's anyway, because in summertime, we have the problem only summertime. The ground is very hot, the climate is very hot, and we give the plants hot water, because where they store the water in plastic tanks. And if you see here the plastic tanks, even at midnight, it's still hot, warm, the water. So for me, I have just techniques which doesn't need that cost. Only we have the cement water tank covered, and also plants around it, and we have fish inside. So this will give also fertilizer. That's for the water. So if you come to my farm, you will see even in the mid of the summer, like at 2 or 12, the water is cool. Yes, it's cool without any cooling system. I tried everything. I tried before to put AC inside the water to cool it, but now I think it's not sustainable and costly. Also, I've tried the greenhouse with cooling system. I think they are using GarcX, but for me that still is not sustainable, because it's costly, and especially for us as a business, it's costly and not sustainable. So I canceled that one, and I have only shade. So that's what we do for the second. First we said the water. Second is the climate. I make the climate, because I bring plants from all over the world. So each plant has different kind of needs. But I adapt for them ideal model to grow everything, all kind. So I have the shaded system, and I have the also artificial rain. When it's really get too much hot, I open the artificial rain with just less cost. So that will cool the climate for my plants. Also, the third one, very important, why we are talking about today, the soil. Most of the people, they think soil is just science. No, for me it's a living thing. The soil is a living thing. It needs oxygen, it needs to feed them, because there's like bacteria, good bacteria. Also, there's like the earthworm, so that will make it good soil. And for the soil, we because in UAE we have maybe more than 70% of our soil is sands, okay, and we have the in Fujairah and Ras Al Khaimah stony soil. Also, we have the clay soil. So for me, I import the cocoa beet. Maybe most of you the cocoa beet. We do the composting. So with that one, I do really like ideal and model soil to fit most of the plant. I cannot say all, but most of them. Then I add here and there for some special plants. So that's, and also it will cool like the cocoa beet, which is the shell of the coconut. It cool the ground, and also it make it always moisturize. It make it good for the plants. So now these are three pillars for me: the water, the fresh water, the soil, and the climate. I tried to do all this in just natural way. So all I have you will see I have the cacao, and also I produce the plants of the cacao because for me it's easier to bring the fruits. I imported the fruits from Uganda, then I planted the seeds. And also the avocado the same. Then I try to graft some of them, So I planted, we planted the mother plants. Now this botanical farm, we have mother plants. For example, there are more than 1,000 of varieties of mangoes, but in Fujairah itself, maybe we have more than 150 varieties of mango from all over the world, from Asia, from Africa. So what we do now, really, we bring the cutting from outside and we graft it in the local mango, so it will be more strong, because the local lemon, for example, very strong. Then I can graft any citrus on the top, like I can have orange, anything on the top of this. So that's also grafting techniques we use. It's really makes things for us easier, and for the plants we bring from abroad to adapt this weather.
So you mentioned that soil is a living creature, a living thing. I really like this this observation, and I agree. And I want to, continuing this idea, to give the word to Mr. Bhaskar on his experience. So with your experience as an agriculture consultant with bridging soil-based systems and controlled environment agriculture, how do you see the role of soil health evolving in this arid climates, indoor farms and vertical farms? Is soil still relevant, or is the paradigm shifts to soil-less farming more?
Yeah, that's a very nice question. To reply to that question, I'll have to walk you through the whole journey, which I started in 2000. I'm a hardcore grower, basically an agronomist. When I landed up here in 2000 in the GCC, my first stint was in Kuwait. It was more of a farm that is cultivating some sort of date palms and a few vegetable crops here and there, very scattered, and that is being nurtured or looked after by zero-skilled workers. So then on, it evolved in such a way that slowly, in the last 8 to 10 years, maybe after the COVID, these farms started picking up growing crops that could be fed to their families or to their extended families. So that was the shift, a big paradigm shift that happened just because of the COVID. And then it took a complete, a very nice projectile that now farms are looking at, there are three types basically. When you're talking about farms, it is like an open field farm which involves soil cultivation. It also has an controlled environment agriculture, greenhouse, polyhouse farms, whereby they are doing both hydroponics and also soil. And in that hydroponics, it is basically passive hydroponics, that is cocoa peat or any other substrate media is being used as a growing substrate. Then you have vertical farms, and vertical farms do feed only, say, a little part of the whole supply chain. But when you're talking of the major crops, we talk about growing vegetables and fruit trees, and that's solely being done in bigger areas in the soil. The soil is the major factor, and as we speak, we're talking about the food security, which has been published, or which the policy has made in 2051. We need to have a very safe, nutritious, and affordable food for everybody. So when you talk of safe, when you talk of nutritious and affordable, we have to look into the soil. Without developing the soil and without taking care of the soil and its microbiome, we are not able to produce the best of the best healthy, nutritious food, which is also affordable. So when you talk of affordability, you talk about putting in a lot of inorganic fertilizers into the soil, thus depleting the soil structure, and reducing the soil microbiome activity, and also trying to do some sort of cultivation which in the long run will reduce your productivity and yields. So then comes in the soil reclamation or soil amendment, which I am taking care of nowadays, is basically to improve the soil condition, at least the topsoil, and to reduce seepage into the water table with all the fertilizers and chemicals. So that's where the focus lies when you're talking about soil health and food.
I agree, and to add to this, I can share that we at Regeneration, at the vertical farm in Dubai, we have shifted to soilless production completely, because as a controlled environment indoors vertical farm, a farm that caters to chefs, first and foremost, to HoReCa, we understand that soil for us brings an element of dirt when we sell the final product to the chef, and obviously the chef wants to serve the product right away without cleaning, without using water, without potentially damaging a very fragile leaf or an edible flower. So that's why for us we have shifted towards the soilless farming and make it more of a precision farming approach so that we can control more in terms of the fertilizers and the medium in which the seed grows. But I agree with your point on obviously open fields and fruits and having really nutritious foods thanks to the soil.
Yeah, sure. See, when you're talking about nutrition, nutrition is not a subject matter of any dietary condition, or it's not the subject of a dietitian. Nutrition comes from the soil. So if you're feeding the best of the best, as Doctor was mentioning, the best of the best feed to the population, it has to come from the soil, because the soil will have that sort of microorganisms that will help in boosting up your micronutrients availability to the crop. Otherwise, we'll have only those NPKs which are available to the crop, and people do that. Usually, what they do is, they mix up the soil with some sort of organic matter, which is basically some sort of compost, and then they put in a lot of basal dressing of phosphates, the SSP or DAP, what they call the phosphatic fertilizers for root development, and then it goes into some sort of sowing or transplanting, and then apply those NPKs and ureas, and that's it. So, but because the soil doesn't hold that much of, it doesn't have that water retention capacity, it's an alkaline soil, it's a sodic soil. So all these nutrients that are being put from the top are being seeped into the water table. That's what I was trying to say. And then there is no availability of that particular nutrient to the plant, because it doesn't have that particular microbiome to break down those nutrients to make it available to the plant. So that's where soil health comes in, and it's very important.
So building up on this, I want to address Dr. Gurbashan on the soil health questions. So your long-standing research shows that soil and water health are central to resilient systems. How do you define soil health in practice? What are the metrics that you're looking at?
I think we use the soil around the world for last 50 years very scientifically. What we wanted, we produced at the cost of soil, water, biodiversity, and the change in climate. Now this era has come when we need to regenerate our natural resources of soil, water, biodiversity, air quality to that level. For that, we are doing a lot of work at our research farm. One thing is that if we see to the local, we need to look the soil in a different way. We have above ground our plants, Some root crops are in the root zone. So now we have to manage the nutrition, the water, everything, taking into consideration the above ground we have the plants, then we have 2 feet root zone, and before 2 feet we have the other soil. So all these things we will have to monitor together to maintain the soil productivity, soil fertility in the near future. What we have started, one I have said, the integrated farming system model, which we have developed, and it is being upscaled. We have integrated all kind of livestock to get organic manure at the farm, so that we can meet the need of the soil of our farm by either integrated farming, chemical, manures, and biological. We are working on that. So we have seen that we could, in last 7-8 years, we have reduced the chemical use of fertilizers, pesticides, all this to almost 50%. This is what we need to have in the future agriculture. We can talk organic or natural farming system. Second problem overall, how to reuse the residues generated at the farm level. In India, lot of rice wheat area, the residues are being burnt. The air quality remains much above up to Delhi and all that area. That is a very serious problem. But we have developed another model. For example, wheat crop, that is an area which is the food bowl of the country, Punjab, Haryana, Western UP, the northern part of the country. Now we are planting wheat on the bunds and put all rice residue which is burnt in the channels. That serves the purpose of, I say, killing 5 birds with 1 stone. So when we are adding for 5-6 years the residue in the channels, that is a reclaimed sodic soil. Only 45 centimeter upper layer has the organic matter, but the lower it is almost absent, because still it is very high salts, pH more than 9.5. So this we could reclaim and build organic carbon and regenerate the microbes. Now you can find the earthworms when we are adding so much farm residues at the farm. At the same time, when we put residue, we are keeping the soil covered. We can solve the problem of weeds, which is another very common. So some of the lessons what we have learned, we need to keep our soil always covered with any kind of vegetation, maybe the grasses, maybe the trees. This is two. Third point is we need to integrate trees, maybe the fruit trees, with crops. Mainly if we can add leguminous trees, the distance may be the farmer choice. He can put on the boundaries, he can put at any spacing. So whatever leaf fall will take place, we are able to build the organic carbon. Otherwise, building organic matter, organic carbon, where the temperature go up to 45 degrees centigrade, you cannot maintain it, get decomposed. So that is the third kind of thing. Fourth one is that we need to have a crop rotation where we must include leguminous crops within a year between 2 cereal crops. So that is the otherwise, or some kind of green manuring by Tasmania or those kind of issues. We are trying all those things, but I can say it is possible to regenerate our soils yearly with this kind of integration of chemical, non-chemical, biological kind of things, and the biological nitrogen fixation is also very important. So this is what kind of efforts we have.
This is really insightful. And do you see farmers actually adopting these principles?
You are very right. Actually, at our farm, farmers from the adjoining states, 7, 8 states, they are linked with us. Every year, we organize 2 Kisan fairs, one during Rabi season, another during Kharif season. 2 seasons. But you know, the farmer visit the research centers for quality seeds. That's why we have started producing seeds of new varieties. They come to have the seeds of those varieties, even the quality planting material. We have the opportunity to interact with them and show these kind of innovations to them. I am happy to share that the young generation, the young farmers, they have started following these models, but I have said putting wheat on the bunch. Another problem in that area is our groundwater is depleting. Every year the groundwater is declining at the rate of half a meter. So we need to have the irrigation technologies. So in this way, this technology helps us to save 30% irrigation water. Many farmers have started doing this. Now the crux of the most important is because everybody is present. In South Asia, even all this, the 80% farmers cultivate less than 2 hectares of land, 5 acres. Even 50% less than 1 hectare, 2.5 acres. So only solution is to integrated livestock, trees, horticulture, everything along with crops so that we can double his farmer's income, we can reduce his cost of cultivation. We could reduce by 70%. When you can generate the manure, we are making compost. So these are the kind of initiatives we are taking.
Can I add on?
Sure. Please.
The latest studies showed the soil health. I want to thank Doctor for all his work. But just imagine the soil in India and the soil in UAE. That's a lot of work that we have to have in UAE. We don't have soil, we have sand. So the work that farmers have here cannot be compared to a fertile land already. So the latest study have connected the soil health with our health. Because the soil, like you said, Doctor, it has a microbiome. And what do we have in our gut? Microbiome.
Exactly.
So it's the healthy bacteria that comes through the plants that we eat and sits in our gut. And as much as we have healthy bacteria, as much as we have high immune system and health, we will be more healthy just from the soil bacteria. And the thing that you said, Daria, about shifting to soilless, yes. I know it's not the same, cannot be compared to organic, but the demand is very high. And like you said, some requirement, and especially here in UAE, you have to go to hydroponic or aquaponic or aeroponic just to make sure that we have food in the market.
That's a very good point. And to build on this practical insight into the Emirates market, as you mentioned. So at GarcX Group, you have this farming 360 approach, right? That integrates, as far as I know, and tech and education, wellness and tourism, and even media. So how does this ecosystem translate into tangible farming principles for your farmers, or maybe for the farmers who influence around the UAE?
Okay, so the comprehensive model that we have created, we don't work alone. Okay, so we work with a lot of governmental entities, we work with a lot of associations and NGOs, and we work with a lot of successful people like Bu Khalifa, Wadi Dafta, because we believe that having such successful stories in UAE, imagine we can plant all the plants in UAE. And not only planting all the plants, imagine we can have farmers and farms dedicated, for example, to cacao production. So how do they plant the cacao tree, and how do they process it, and how do they make it a ready product in the market? So when we look at agriculture, and especially for farmers, we don't look at, okay, we will plant some vegetables, some tomato and cucumber, and that's it. We look at the whole value chain and what is missing in our country, because we can never compare agriculture to one country and another. This is very difficult. every country has their own challenges. Plus, what we have added to Gracia Group is the Association for Agriculture that our CEO is leading as well. So it's a community for farmers where everything new, every new tech that we believe that will support the farmers in the prices, in the production, in scaling up a little bit the farming practices that we are doing. We share it with them, we train them. Of course, we cannot forget the governmental entities like MOCA, like ADAFSA, like Khalifa Fund. We have a lot of supporters anyway, a lot. So what do we need? We need some support, we need some training, we need to collaborate. This is, I think, the key word that everyone needs to believe, that collaboration in our industry has never been a competitive thing. If we do not collaborate as food production sector, we will not reach the food security in any year soon. Inshallah we will, but this is a collaboration, mandatory thing to think how we can work together.
For sure, and I invite you to our farm, to Regeneration as well, to come and see and maybe come up with a collaboration idea in the future. And giving a word to Mr. Ahmed, you mentioned that your plantation integrates a lot of techniques like grafting and like organic composting and fish water fertilization. And you've almost built like, you know, a laboratory for plants from all over the world. What difficulties did you encounter when building such a plantation and with like adapting the trees, and not only trees, like the plants, to the daily life of the UAE's, you know, the sand and the arid environment and the climate that we have here? So what was the difficulty, not only for the plants, but also for you as the agripreneur, building this and maintaining this, and maybe what advice can you give to the farmers in the UAE that want to pursue this path as well?
Always there are many challenges in any business. So of course in the start we had lots of challenges because it's my passion. So I wanted to bring plants. Of course we didn't neglect the local plants. And we went to the mountains, we get some medicinal plant, and we produced from these plants. So we have first we took care of our own local plant, then we tried with other plants. So always as experimental, you have challenges like you need a greenhouse, as I mentioned before, and I built it actually. It was costly, of course, to build a greenhouse with maintenance, and especially when you are in business, the electricity is double, I think. I don't know in Abu Dhabi. Always is more expensive, but for local farmer, they have like your own farm, they give discount in the government, but for business, still business. So always expensive. So I canceled that one. I did just the normal shaded area, which works really naturally and sustainable. Also regarding the water, first I bought the AC, I brought the AC man to fix and to cool the water tank. So also that was costly, so I canceled. There's always a cost. So now we have the cement and this only one time cost. So all this cost, but as you do experimental, always you face cost. Bringing plants from all over the world is really costly. And sometimes, imagine I go, for example, in India and I see rare plants. It's very expensive to bring it here and to buy it. It's not. It's very expensive, and it will die first time. Then I bring it from another country again, and I keep trying. I will never give up until I have everything with me. So I'm still, and still there's cost, and also this also sponsored only by myself. So I started first a small nursery, and how I started was just as a hobby, just to make the license to make it easier for me to import plants from all over the world. Because I used to bring in my bag when I travel, when I was in healthcare, I was traveling a lot to conferences, different countries, so I used to bring in my bags. Of course, without soil, because soil is not allowed in the airport. I used to bring seeds and like this. So I started 2018 to get the license. I started importing plants from all over the world. So that's introduced new plants to UAE, and like the cashew, the pistachio, cacao, avocado, everything you imagine, I have it. Medicinal plant, everything. So most of them, they are working fine. So now, and we encourage the young people to do, but they have to start where we ended. You know, they don't need to go back and do the greenhouses with cooling system, which is costly. They can come and show them. I'm doing this also to show them how the way the feasible way to do it, which is effective way and very cheap. You know, just natural, because you need sustainability. You know, for the example, the electricity cut off, I will not have problem because I'm not, you know. And also, by the way, I'm using solar power on my farm. Yeah, so I'm using compost and all organic. I'm not using any chemical, because chemical, as we mentioned, it will destroy the health of the soil, and it will destroy the health of the people, because we eat from this plant. So it's all related to each other. So we have to take care, and not, for me, even small percentage, I see it as if we can do it without chemical, and for also the pesticides, because we have insects. I brought all the birds that we have, the ducks, the swans, the peacocks, the chicken everywhere, so that will reduce the insects, the diseases, yes.
Well, as someone who also works in a farm, I really resonate with your cost-cutting approach, because this is such a capital-intensive industry, and to really make it work, you should be experimental and innovative with the techniques and with cutting costs. So, giving the word to Mr. Bhaskar, in the Middle East, and we're continuing talking about the reality of our Middle Eastern agriculture. In the Middle East, you have encountered, as far as I understand, unique challenges of climate, obviously, and water and infrastructure. And can you please share some of the successful stories of maybe your agricultural consultancy practice, of integrating this regenerative practices into commercial farms here? Did you see any commercially successful farms that integrate the novel regenerative practices for soil health and for water health, and ultimately for the food security?
Yeah, thank you. See, let me get you some brief background of that. Like, it's the food security policy of the UAE government emphasizes on nutritional security. So I term the word nutritional security because they're saying they have to provide nutritious food. So to provide nutritious food, my point again gets back again and again to the soil health. Yeah. So once you talk about nutritional security, you talk about feeding the soil with nutrient that the soil needs, not the NPKs or the fertilizers. So in this part of the world, what people usually have been doing, and from the beginning, is there is no practice of doing a soil test. So there is no soil test that is being mandatory for most of the farms, except if they are doing some sort of GAP certifications. Otherwise, in general, they are not doing any sort of soil testing, and they do not know what the soil contains. So they just add, as per the schedule, some sort of nutrients into the soil and some compost. And so they are further deteriorating the soil structure. In fact, they are spoiling the soil health. So the soil testing is one of the major concerns, and it has to be mandatory for all over the region, especially in the GCC. That's number one. And for success stories, yes, there is a change, yes. People are getting aware, because when you're talking about inorganic nutrients, so first year, second year, third year, you may be having a very good yield. But as and when your soil gets depleted, as doctors were saying, that, you know, the productivity falls. So once the productivity falls, I've been working in the grassroots. So I know, I've been seeing, and even you can resonate with that, that whenever there is a reduction in the yield for the crop, it's because of the soil health, which some of the decision makers do not understand. They say, okay, change the farm manager. Yeah, it's because we need some other agronomist who was giving us in the beginning, you know, X kilos per square meter, and now it has fallen down. So that concept has come in such a way that, you know, you keep changing your skills, you keep changing the people you have employed, who are already developed the skills of handling the soil or the crop, and then you get into some other after the fourth or the fifth year, once you have your productivity depleted. So to avoid all these issues, we need to get into some sort of, I'm not talking of a complete regenerative practice, which is the best, but to have some sort of add-ons to your growing facility. It could be CEA, it could be open fields, it could be net houses, it could be indoors, to have some sort of soil microbiome developed, first of all. To develop that, you need to have very good OM, very good OC, very good, you could say CEC and carbon nitrogen ratio. So all these parameters of soil health have to be considered with seriousness. So once all these parameters are considered with seriousness, then you have a better crop. So to have the better crop, we get into some sort of new technologies that are coming up in terms of, bioorganic stimulants, biopesticides and all that. So that is being used in a big way in most of the farms. But the basic structure of the soil has to be improved, which is still a little bit of a challenge in most of the farms. But yes, there are farms who are adapting this technology. They're trying to blend both the technologies in terms of using organic certified nutrients also, apart from the organic stuff which is being circulated in the industry. And one more last point is, the organic matter or the organic compost that is being used all over here is, there are 3-4 types. One which is completely something like a dry livestock waste. The other one is a heat-treated waste. So looking at the costs of both of these, the farms try to incorporate the dry stuff, which doesn't have that much of value in terms of nutrients. It also has lots of weed seeds in it. It also has lots of pathogens in it. So when you talk of heat-treated manures, then you have all this reduced and you help in improving your soil and your productivity, because if you have weeds, all your nutrients will be depleted. Then again, you have pathogens which get into your food system. It could be, all this E. coli and salmonella. So these are the few parameters, and people are getting aware. People are working towards it. And we as ground workers are trying to push the point through and trying to serve the country with good nutritious food. That's what we're trying to do.
Well, and I'm glad to see a lot of success in this. And closing off, I'm giving the word to Doctor again. Doctor, I have this maybe overarching bigger question that would be great to, I think, close off the panel and also listen to other opinions of the panelists here, which is, what would you prioritize in improving the farm-to-fork chain in the UAE in general? So we have talked about many ways today and practices today that we can use both in the soil health and in the regenerative practices and even in the education that can help the overall agriculture and sustainability in the UAE. But in your opinion, what would you prioritize as the first step in improving the farm-to-fork chain?
Thank you very much. First, you raised one very valuable comment that soil-less agriculture. These are the new innovations, have lot of scope, but can never be considered an alternative to soil-based agriculture. We will have to. This can be only for low volume, high price crops, which we can prioritize for soil-less efforts, because our experience is also this: the companies can take this kind of initiative, but at the farmers level, there are some. Second, otherwise, what my colleague said, the population needs healthy food, because we are facing number of problems related to food, starting with milk. Even in India, 70% is artificial, or the kind of milk which we are, even the kind of, when we talk about paneer and those kind of. Now, so second, you said that for UAE, I said in the morning, anywhere in the world where we have aridity or dry land, we will have to depend upon perennials, so that our land should always remain covered. There are plants which can give food security, the alternate crops. I talked about edible cactus. You know, maybe 20 countries, their economy in the dry areas, because they have the capacity to grow in the hottest temperatures. For example, genus Prosopis, it has been exploited. You will find here also around in whole of the desert, the Prosopis trees. Nature has given us those plants to deal with this situation. But we are doing something which nature has given. Our emphasis should be to improve those. You know, now from Prosopis, you can make ice cream from its pods, the animal feed, all kind of the furniture, everything. Second is edible cactus, as a fruit, as a forage, as a medicinal, as energy, all kind of. In the West, as I said, the FAO put me as a coordinator. They have a net on edible cactus as a coordinator for West Asia. We did some work in this part of and that is another. Thirdly, we will have to use each drop of rainwater. Our system should be, for example, few months back, Dubai was a lot of rain and that water, where that water has gone. We need to have a system to store that water. Wherever it falls, in the farmer's field, we made a plan in India that let every drop of water, every 10-15 acres, the farmers, government is giving subsidy so that they can have their either ponds or they can put some recharge structures when heavy rain occurs. So then it can be stored, and when there is a drought, it can be utilized. So we will have to now look for long-term planning, not the kind of what we were doing, little change, because we have to make our agriculture climate smart. So trees, wherever we can plant, the grasses are there. We need to work on those issues. The only last word what I want to say is, individually, lot of good things are happening. There are success stories. Out of this meeting, let us make some kind of collaborative efforts wherever possible. And the strength of one place, we can put that strength in other situations. That is the only solution which I have learned 40 years my professional career, that we have to work together. And work together, multidisciplinary, farmer participatory, problem solving. Now we should not work that this whole of Dubai area we can do one thing, location specific. These may be a lakh hectare will have different technology, this will need another. So whenever we make planning, we should make location specific planning. Otherwise for the whole country, in India also, they will make a whole country one plan. It can never work. Then the farmers, the big farmers can take advantage of some policy, small farmers cannot. So this is the kind of message I want. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doctor. To close off, maybe anyone else wants to add a couple of finishing lines on...
One finishing line, I just wanted to say, we were talking about alternative to soil, like hydroponics. Yeah, hydroponics is still in the very nascent stage, even now. We have crops limited to hydroponic cultivation, especially vegetable crops and some berries. But you're talking of food security, you're talking of cereals, pulses, and oilseeds. So these three categories is not being done still now in hydroponics, it's in the open fields. So there lies the strength of the soil, the strength of feeding the world through these three major crops all over the world is like cereals, pulses, oilseeds. So these crops are still being grown and cultivated on large scale in the soil. So guys, it's time to feed the soil.
Thank you. One more, please.
One more closure. I just want to spread a message among everyone. Maybe not everyone is in the farming sector or farmers or agriculture. And they will say, okay, that's not my worry. Let them do their own production. I'm worrying about something else in my company. Agriculture is not only for farmers. If we lack for vitamin D, there is the sun. If we had tummy ache, I remember my grandma gave us this special leaves from the tree that we drink for our tummy ache. Agriculture is our life. So we don't look at it as food production and this is the farmer job. It's everyone's job to be part of the farming world.
Exactly. And on this note, we close the panel. Thank you so much, dear panelists. I think it was really insightful, and we have talked about some practicalities in terms of sustainable agriculture, and I hope everyone today walks away with a new idea. Thank you, and have a great day.